Hey everybody, welcome back. Got another T4 and ISO infographic for you. Wave 1 Avengers, Yeti, Punk, myself, finally getting together after some holidays. A lot of stuff going on with schedules, so we're finally back at it. Get some infographics back out there for you guys. So this one, Wave 1 Avengers, as always, if you want to support the group, links in the description below for some Patreon. We got a special tier to give some of that love specifically to Mr. Punk, who does great work on these infographics. Check out that Brotherhood tier. Anybody who's new to the channel, also check out the Discord link in the description below and come join. We like to do videos to try to be as helpful as we can and give you guys some good insights to new things in Marvel Strike Force. So anyway, let's get to those Wave 1 Avenger T4 and ISO upgrades.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, first up, let's hide the non-important logo there. Let's look at Mr. Punk's wonderful, wonderful infographic. So, for those of you not familiar, we've got the team positioning up top. We've got the ISOs just below them. You can see we kind of got some classifications for those, so you can check those out. The positioning is from left to right. These are our recommended positions. And then below that, we've got our T4 priority order. So we go from 1 to 20. We list the character's name, and we've got a little legend here and color coding to hopefully help those kind of determine what's best and what's not. We got our reds and essential and all that kind of thing. And then we've got a nice column off to the side, which is a damage increase rank, which I got some stuff going on formulaically, I think that's a word, formulaically, in a spreadsheet, of course, and I rank all of the T4 upgrades in the entire game, so you can see damage-wise what the increase is, right? So it's a bang for your buck type situation. So if you're ever looking at something just like, well, wow, that pass is only 283, yeah, okay, well, you know, or the ultimate, oh my gosh, that's a 7, good bang for your buck, right? So that's what we got. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can kind of see the wonderful work that Punk does. Again, January version for Wave 1 Avengers, Hulk on the left with Cap, Black Widow. We've got Thor in this group for the moment, and then Hawkeye, who's obviously got to be with Black Widow. We'll see if this team changes in the future. You never know, you know, with what comes out with future Asgardians, with other Avengers coming into the game, Black Widow stuff. You never know, right? And like I mentioned, we've got the ISO 8 stuff below them here with Raid War and kind of an alts type situation, depending like maybe Dark Dimension. In this case, that's where you see like Black Widow. She's got an alternate for Skirmisher, because if you bring it to our Dark Dimension, you want her to put those invulnerables on. So, and if you do roll with that, then you want to have Hawkeye as a striker so that he can kind of get that nice wombo combo. A little bit of the reverse for those two, so she's a striker and he's the Skirmisher. Their damage is similar, but some of the percent increases, they are better with Black Widow. So, and you know, some of the buff pulls when she's stealth, that helps with that striker double hit as well. We got healers on the other guys just because they're massive health pools and inherent healing, but that helps keep the team alive. So, and as you go through here, like I said, we'll go through these in detail. We'll look at the spreadsheet Yeti and I put together where we kind of rank these things. You can see what Yeti and myself both thought. We collaborate so that these things come together in one uniform package, and that's where you kind of see some of these halvesies and different stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've got something way higher than he does, or he's got something way lower than, or higher than I do, and that's where when we come together, you kind of see a nice joint thought process on what these might be. So, you know, Yeti's kind of further in the end game than I am. I'm kind of that mid-top 100 type player, mid-tier type 100 player. So, you know, hopefully we cover some decent range, I guess, of players. And, you know, we always try to keep in mind what the free-to-play types of players want as well. So hopefully this helps you kind of prioritize exactly what you want to do with these Wave 1 Avengers. And let's just go look at exactly how we had these things ranked. So this is the spreadsheet, like I mentioned. I'll zoom in. I know you guys cannot see this at all. I will go ahead and move myself onto the other side of this thing. Whoop! Let's put me over there. And I'll go through as I look through this, and you can kind of see how the colors look here, where it's, you know, you get the red, orange, yellow, blue, and you can see the, you know, this column's mine, and this one's Yeti. So you can see there's, you know, a little bit of difference there. But I'll zoom in. I've got some comments on there that I'd like to go through just to give you a little bit of insight. Nothing crazy, but we'll start at the bottom, of course, because that's just the way you got to do these things, right? All right, so, you know, like we mentioned, for the comments for ISO 8, I was just saying I'm looking for the sustain and some extra double taps out of this team. Double taps meaning the skirmisher and striker combinations. That's what I'm looking for there. Captain America, I was liking the healer because it helps with sustain. He's got a good HP pool. We already talked a little bit about the Striker skirmisher combo between Black Widow and Hawkeye, and that's kind of what these comments here say. I do mention the Dark Dimension 4 Ultimate Skirmisher, that with a Ghost synergy here, where you've got Ghost as the Striker, you want to have that skirmisher situation so that Black Widow puts the invulnerable on, and then when you basic with Ghost, she will hit again a second time, and her basic reduces the speed bar. So it's really nice to use that basic to double tap that speed bar reduction, so that way you can get a character potentially who's slowed to almost never take their turn, or if they're stunned, you can keep them stunned longer until you can get that extend from Ghost's ultimate. So that's a nice combination there, and again, the same concept with Hawkeye, just because they have the assists, you have to obviously put some T4s into that, which we'll get to in a second. But that dynamic with the Striker Skirmisher combo is really what you're looking for there. And then with Thor and Hulk, it's the same concept as what I mentioned with Captain America, with a huge, or the bigger HP pool, and to keep people alive. I had a comment here where I mentioned Striker's actually not a bad option for Thor there, depending what you want to do. Yeti's comments for Black Widows, he's found that he likes Skirmisher to be superior, especially at level 5. And that he's got a comment for Thor as Striker Healer. For him, the passive Thor commands as much damage increase as possible. So he's squarely on Striker there. In Dark Dimension 4, he did use Healer for a smoother experience. So looking at the T4s up here, we both agreed that Hawkeye's basic was the least I guess last on the list, we'll call it that. So I just wrote, poor Hawkeye needs some love here. He really just gained some crit chance out of this and a little bit more. It's basically crit chance and some crit damage. I don't like that. It's kind of trash, honestly. His ultimate, it's a bad damage increase. It does hit everybody, but it's only 264. It's like 50%. Not loving it. We were both on the same page there. Hulk's special was the next one. It was the first one to get T4s to spares, so it's a little bit higher than what we got for these bottom ones, but it still wasn't good. My comment here is Hulk likely doesn't have that many negative effects to clear. You should be fine with clearing 3. And this T4, what it does is it clears all negative effects up from 3. So you're already clearing 3. I almost could put this as a just don't, but I'm like, you never know what teams come in future, etc. It's like, let's just put it, if you got something to spare, then okay, fine. At 17, I had Black Widow's basic. You'll see Yeti had it just one spot above, but same with his, and he had Thor basic here, which I have one spot above, so we're just pretty much flip-flopping these. Black Widow's basic was ranked 101 as far as damage, and I just, again, say, man, damage increase, it's 60%. The ranking, again, 101's not bad, all considered, especially when you're looking at Hawkeye, but granted, his hits all and hers is primary. But, if this would have removed more effects or flipped an effect as well as transferred, something like that, then I would have liked it. But it's just, that I've got a 6 Red Star Black Widow with just a 101. I'm still not putting T4s into that. I mentioned at 16 that we had a flip-flop here. So Thor's basic, which is ranked 121. Again, I'm saying a damage increase. It's kind of like whatever, 40%. That's where Yeti had Black Widow's basic. At number 15, we've got Thor's special for myself. That is when he's throwing the hammer. It's 128 adjacent. I say it's an okay damage increase, but not much more. It's a 40% damage increase. And then you do get the guaranteed third chain as opposed to the 2 to 3. So it takes a little bit of RNG away of there. So it's kind of like, and that does hit for 230% damage. So it's okay. But I just, given the damage increase, I was kind of like, I don't love it. And it's guaranteed from 2 to 3 to 3. If it would have been 3 to 4, then sure, I would have been down, but that was where I was stuck at. Yeti had Hulk's basic at 15. You'll see Yeti had Thor's special, very similar to where mine is, but he's got a category up. Him having Hulk basic, I do have Hulk basic much higher because of the damage, which I'll get to in a second. So that is a difference that we've got there. You can see in the infographic where it evens out. At 14, I've got Hulk's passive. Trying to get more turns for your Hulk, then this is the T4 for you. Big reds on Hulk likely means you want all his T4s anyway. So what this does is when he drops below 50%, it fills the speed bar a little bit more. It's to 100% as opposed to 75%. So like I said, if you want to get him faster, this is where you're really looking at using this. And when an enemy attacks a Wave 1 Avenger, you fill the speed bar by 5%. So this is all about getting his turn going a little bit more. I just said got T4s to spare on this. Let's see, Yeti's got this much higher, I believe. He's got this all the way up at 5 and a what's the class? Really good. So he loves this one, obviously. I was a little bit less loving this, mainly because I just like, was he still going to speed up? Is this really going to make that much of a difference? I don't know. I couldn't go that high. I thought about solid, but I ended up at the top of got T4s to spare because I felt like he probably is still going fast enough to do what you need him to. But if he's not, and you have a really high red star Hulk, then you probably want to, like I said, you're going to want to put all his T4s in there just because he hits so hard and you want him to go a lot. But that's where I landed on Hulk passive. At 14, Yeti's got Thor special, which I mentioned I was just one below that. Coming in at 13, we both have Hawkeye special. That hits for 294 on the damage increase rank. This basically there's a increase in damage, which is like, okay, 10%. That's literally nothing. And then plus there's a reduces speed bar that's already happening, but it clears. Instead of clearing 3 positive effects, it clears all the positive effects. Now, that is actually really good if you think about it, but it's very situational. 3 positive effects on all characters is pretty solid. That's going to clear a lot. So, do you need the all? Maybe for certain counters. It depends. I mean, it depends if you're using these guys on offense or defense. But Yeti obviously personally felt that given it there was 3, that's pretty good. And, you know, that necessitates about a 13 and a solid ranking. Coming in at 12, I've got Captain America's basic, so does Yeti. That ranks 277 in damage, but that's really not why you're using it. If you look at the ability, it's really about guaranteeing that defense up from a 50% chance to a 100% chance. The damage increase is nothing. So like I mentioned here, this is about keeping the defense up on Cap. You're not really, it's not necessarily needed, but it's nice to make him harder to kill in case somebody's, you know, because he's going to have it if he taunts. He's already going to have defense up if he taunts. So this is really about keeping the defense up when he's not taunting. So no one's going to just want to hit Captain America if anybody else is up. Coming in at 11, like I mentioned, Hulk's basic, 87th damage rank. I really like that on a basic, and my comment here is this can hit really hard, especially if below 50%. That's why I like this one as much as I do. If, you know, it goes another 50% for the damage, and it increases that multiplier just by 0.1. So, you know, we'll see what, you know, a lot of people think here, but I liked this one because I think this thing could just really wipe people off the board. Coming in at number 11 for Yeti was Black Widow's ultimate, which I'll get to a little bit higher, but that's where he had his at. I already talked about how he had the Hulk's basic lower. Coming in at number 10, we both have Captain America's special. This is about granting additional ability energy to allies, and it's random allies. Now, the thing I don't like about this is it goes from 1 to 2 to 1 to 3. And I actually struggled at having this high for a bit, but I also wanted to put it a lot higher because if he does proc that 3 energy, that's huge. But it could also be 1. So I hate the RNG in this. I hate it. But man, if you're getting that 3 energy pop, it is amazing. And honestly, it would probably be considered essential. But that's where it lands because that's what the ability is. We both have Black Widow special at number 9, but I look at it as a solid, and Yeti looks at this as a really good, my comment. And what this does is it adds the clear 1 negative effect from Avenger allies. And so every time she uses that special, she'll clear 1 negative effect from any Avenger ally. So I originally did this when Brotherhood came into play, where Magneto would come and maybe she'd go after him and she'd use her special and clear the blind. But given how many turns she has these days and, you know, speed ups and everything, this can help really do well with Avengers when they're fighting any teams that have a lot of debuffs. And my comment here is this was the hotness for when Mags came out, but the 1 debuff clear has fallen off. In my opinion, I think it should be at least 2. I think that would make that way better for this team. I don't know why they don't have that, but hey, you know, I mean, the whole MCU is based around the Avengers. Why make them really good? All right, number 8, I've got Thor's passive here. It's ranked at 258. I believe Yeti's got this at a essential. Yeah, he does. He has it as 3rd. So this is a pretty big difference here. I've got this as a solid, and he's got this as essential. And the damage increase here is 254. It's a +5 damage increase, but on the passive, it also increases that once he gets those charges, a +20%, and it hits all enemies. And my comment here is I want to rank this higher, but so many variables were on it that if you have a high red star Thor, then I'd say definitely do it. But for me personally, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to necessarily throw this into a really good and essential. I do like it, but there's just too many factors here. People can pick off Thor, and for somebody who's trying to be a little bit stingy with T4s, Not sure I'm going to go tell him to do that right away. All right, so Thor's ultimate is what Yeti's got at number 8. I've got that 2 spots higher, so I'll cover the description on that in a second. At 7, I already mentioned Yeti had Black Widow a little bit up below. Their damage rank here is 102, hits you adjacent. You're basically getting some additional damage here. You've already got the stun, and then you're chaining for additional damage. So this is really just about damage. And I thought about lowering this, but with a solid damage upgrade and a hit on 4 tunes with bleeds, I thought it was a really good upgrade. And that's the thing that I was kind of thinking about here is like, so you've got a high damage situation with Black Widow, and then she's hitting and those bleeds get that damage. So it's like, it's kind of like, all right, what's going on with all of this? You just got so much opportunity for damage here. It's like, all right, let's get it, right? So that's where I got that one. And then he's got Captain America's ultimate, which I'll get to here in a little bit. And coming in at number 6 is Thor's ultimate. It's ranked 84 and it hits everybody. It's a good damage upgrade and it's a bit more chance to stun. I would prefer a long ultimate cooldown like this to be closer to 70% chance to stun, but it is what it is. So what I mean by that is there's a long cooldown here, even though you're getting some energy from your Thor or from Captain America potentially, but it's only a 50% chance to stun even with the T4. So I'm kind of like, I feel like an ultimate that's got that long of a cooldown, it should be a little bit more guaranteed, especially since it's Thor, but is what it is. At number 6, we've got Hawkeye's passive for Yeti. I've got that a bit higher in the essentials, which I'll get to in a minute. Captain America's ultimate damage increase there is 278, and it comes in at the 5 spot for myself. Like I said, 2 spots higher than Yeti. Also, ultimately, what this does is gives you a little bit more damage, but it's about really getting the additional speed here. So you get a 30% more speed bar on this. I really like that, so you can get to his taunt quicker, and that is important to get to that taunt, get to that defense up. And that's pretty much it, right? So the damage is whatever, and that's kind of what I mentioned in my comments here. It's really about the speed upgrade. We've got Hulk's passive from Yeti, which like I said, I have down much further down here. He does really like that. So for anybody who does like Hulk or questioning like, Wolver, you're on, you're nuts thinking about having that so low. Well, Yeti does have it higher. So again, they end up evening out. We both agree that Hulk's ultimate is number 4, though Yeti considered it essential. I considered it really good. It has massive damage, 17. This thing can wipe people off the board, so it is really great. It's 70% additional damage to adjacent enemies. This can be an instant kill to multiple tunes, and it's a big damage upgrade. You always, honestly, if you got, you almost have to do that. But I wasn't quite getting to it because I was like, well, it's an adjacent. Sometimes things don't work out perfectly for this thing, so I just didn't go quite to essential. I just left it as really good. Coming in at number 3 for myself, I've got Captain America passive. You'll see Yeti's got that at number 2. Blitz timer comes off, and then, so with the Captain America passive, you get some more block amount, and in war, you've already getting all those things. So it's really just some additional block amount, and then in war, you get the max health. But if you're not into war, then this passive can probably drop down a little bit, but anyway. So I already mentioned Thor's passive below. Yeti had that much higher for him. I had it at 8. He's got it all the way up number 3, so that is a big increase there for anyone wondering who's like, if you really do want to do it and you didn't want to trust me, trust Yeti, okay? At number 2, I had Hawkeye's passive, which, Yeti had that down at 6. This is where it's the Corvus and Proxima special between, or the Corvus and Proxima where they do their basics with each other where they assist, right? So that's the same concept with Black Widow and Hawkeye. His passive, there is some damage increase there. With the on-turn, attack the most injured enemy with stealth. So, okay, that's fine. That's added. But really what this is about is a guaranteed chance to assist now on a Black Widow's turn. So, I really like this, and it's the same thing for Black Widow here, right? So, I really like the 2 of these together because anytime one of these guys are going to take a turn, it's going to hit the other character on the other board. And except for Black Widow's special, these guys are always hitting people. So you're going to get assists all day. So that's why I personally have these 2 as a top 2. Because I just, the more taps these guys get, the more hits these 2 get, the better off. Yeti's got Captain America's passive at number 2, which I already covered at number 3 for me. And Yeti also agrees that Black Widow's passive is at number 1 for himself. So he really likes calling in Black Widow for the Hawkeye turn as the top one. I have the Hawkeye coming in with Black Widow as well, as a little bit higher. His was a little bit lower, but you get the idea, right? So these were our Wave 1 Avenger T4s and ISOs. I hope this helped you guys a little bit. Like I mentioned, come to the Discord, link in the description below. If you want to support these efforts, we do have a Patreon we got out there with a specific brother. I think it's Brotherhood tier. It's the one with Pyro on it. So if you want to come support that a little bit, those funds do help specifically these infographic efforts. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Hammer down on the like button. Was it notification bell, subscription button? I think you guys know the drill at this point. Appreciate you stopping by and have a wonderful day.